Hmm. I don't know what's happening. It's not streaming at all.
Let me see. One of my somebody actually said.
Yeah, and I just opened up YouTube. It says it's streaming,
Let
but
me
I don't see it.
um, anything. Did you we're trying to connect? I just did you were you able to what are you seeing?
No, let me do this. I'm gonna
Hold on.
what was
Hello.
it? I'm gonna add YouTube one more time, and you know what I'm gonna do? If it doesn't, for some reason, it still doesn't work.
Okay, hold
Um,
on.
I'm going to probably just record, unfortunately, or we could schedule another time if you want to do it live. I don't like the recording. Let me see. Let me try link. Let me try the YouTube one more time here.
Okay, hold on. Hello. Okay. He said it's my husband said it says waiting to start.
Hmm.
Because it's urban shaking me all the time.
I haven't had any issues with it yet.
Yeah. Okay. Ma, just text me. Let me know. Yes. Thanks.
You know what? Let me also try. Let me try one more thing. Some reason YouTube isn't working at all, and I don't know if it's YouTube or the streaming service right here, which I'm not sure where the problem is. So I'm gonna try Facebook.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Nope. Giving me issues. Um, no, I don't know what's going on. I might have to contact their support, in which case, okay, let me try one last time. I think it's working.
So
All right.
yeah.
Technology, we've been waiting.
Technology is a beast, honestly.
But
And
testing it out one last time because I believe we are live. I'm looking at us right here on this other screen. Yes, we are. All right, let's get started. All right, here we go.
Have more degrees than a thermometer.
When you're engaged,
stands for their interest, or they
There's a lot of
Your
planning.
daughters will be here and you
I
will
believe
be
in mental health.
Sure that we have mental.
when you have
We travel together on the path to intentional leadership, one conversation at a time. We go down a new road of insight with an expert guest who knows what it takes to navigate the opportunities and challenges of leadership. Why? Because they've already been there. So grab your compass and whatever else you need, and let's set out, leading the way.
Okay, this is the best intro to a podcast to talk about leadership because if people don't know the definition of leadership, it's going with the flow. That's my definition today. And that's just going with whatever happens. And that just happened today. Waiting for the stream to start live, waiting for maybe contacting support. And all the while, people are watching us live. Isn't that wonderful, Dr. Olabisi?
it's awesome and it's amazing. It's happened to me before, but as you mentioned, that's what leadership is all about. Staying calm, even when things don't go the way that you want them to go. But here we are live. So yay, kudos to you.
Yay! All right. Well, I'm so happy to have you back. I had you back over at Leading the Way in January, and I am so happy to welcome you back because it's the beginning of a new quarter leading to the end of the year. But before we start talking about today's topic, let's start by introducing you again to people watching us today on Leading the Way. Here we go.
Dr. Olabisi Oshikamlu is a dynamic force of inspiration and empowerment. As a devoted mother, accomplished physician, serial entrepreneur, and Maxwell Leadership Certified speaker, trainer, and coach, she has dedicated her life to helping others reach their fullest potential. Founder of Full Hands Ventures, a pioneering communication and training company, Dr. Oshikamlu transforms lives through personal and professional development. She co-runs the Empowered for Greatness Foundation, an initiative that sponsors financially challenged medical and law students in Nigeria, enabling them to pursue their dreams and give back to their communities. Her journey is a testament to resilience and courage. Let us give a warm and cheerful welcome to Dr. Olabisi Oshikamlu.
Yay! Welcome back to Leading the Way. I'm Nagam Alsamari, and I talk with leaders who have been there so we can all share in this story and learn from each other. And I'm so happy to have Dr. Olabisi Oshikamlu again on Leading the Way. And as I mentioned, she was back here January, the beginning of the year, talking to us about how to level up your leadership. Before we get started, I know I asked you this question before, but I'm going to ask it again. What does leadership mean to you in your definition?
Hi, Nagam, and hello to my family and friends and fans and everybody else who's watching live today. It's really a pleasure and an honor to be here again. Leadership is really just influence. I love John Maxwell's definition. That's where I got that from. It's really influence. And as we demonstrated today in practical terms, it's really being able to stay calm under pressure because we had some pressure. And the show was supposed to start at 6 o'clock, and I'm looking at the clock, it's 6:07, 6:09, and we're troubleshooting. But you did your thing, and here we are on live.
Absolutely. I think it's leadership isn't just something you talk about. It's something you actually live and you demonstrate through action every single day. And so we had this technical difficulty to those who are just joining us today right now. I was trying to go on live. I was trying to, stream, and there's a couple of steps that I have to take. And every time the system shows that we're not streaming, it literally says not streaming, right? But then at the same time, I look at my phone and I got an email saying YouTube says that I'm live. And so you've got these contradictions, and you have to stay on camera, hold your face ready for the audience, right? And you don't know what's coming up. Is it which system is telling the truth at this point, right? And that's, and that's one way to demonstrate leadership, is that to continue working going with the flow, staying calm, and, of course, having that influence, because it's not just a word that we talk about. And yeah, it is a way of life, and no matter what rank or title. So, Dr. Olabisi, if we can get started with just a recap of what we talked about a little bit back in January before we get into today's topic, that would be wonderful.
Awesome. It's really amazing because where did all the time go? It looks like January was just last week, and we were talking about this before we came on live. And now it's September, and October is knocking. And before you know it, actually, right now, 2026 is saying, "Hey, girl, are you ready?" So back in January, I came on and I talked about, I actually left the listening audience with a challenge. Will you level up or stay stuck? And a lot of us have leveled up, but it's one thing to level up. That's step one. How do you now go to the next level? And we'll talk about that later. But to do a quick recap, you mentioned leadership. I mentioned leadership being uh, influence, and you talked about leadership being work. It's a verb. It's something that you do. It's a lifestyle. And in general, we talked about leveling up, requiring intentionality, intention being a noun and intentionality being the actual doing. And then I went on to talk about the different comfort zones. How do you level? How do you move from staying stuck to leveling up? You can either stay in the comfort zone, which is a dead zone. I like to call that the insanity zone, because insanity is doing the same thing the same way and thinking you'll have something different. And then we talked about the challenge zone, and this is where growth actually occurs. And then we talked about the burnout zone. The burnout zone is the zone where growth ends. And it's important to make sure you have a balance. And success is the sum of all these small actions practiced day in, day out. And then I talked about the I am framework. And I love acronyms. Stands for intentionality, being clear, being intentional. A is accountability, and I'll talk about that later, because accountability has been shown to help you just grow and stretch. And then the M is measurability, where you're measuring what's going on. Because if you don't measure what you're doing, how do you know that you're growing? And so that's the quick recap of what happened, what we talked about in January. So now in September, the question is, will you level up if you haven't leveled up? And if you've leveled up, how do you now 10x into 2026?
Well, if you haven't leveled up, I think go back and watch Dr. Olabisi's interview back in January so you can start there. Then come back to this episode, because we're going to assume today that everyone who's started off in January 2025 started right with the right intention and started working on the self-growth. And that's where I am so curious and so eager to learn from you today about how do we 10x.
Okay, so let's start by, first of all, that video. I watched that video again yesterday. I asked you to send me the link. And even if I say so myself, that video was great. It was really good. So go back, go to Nagam's website and go to her YouTube channel and watch the video from January. So what does 10x really mean? Because you have to know what it means before you could do it.
Yeah.
And so 10x, when people first hear 10x, and people have written books about 10x, when people hear 10x, you're like, okay, does that mean that for me to 10x, I've leveled up, I'm going to 10x, does that mean that I need to work harder? I need to be busier? I need to 10x myself into exhaustion? No, let's be clear. 10x is, I want 10 times effectiveness. I want to be more effective. So 10x to 10x is not about a hustle culture. So we're not here to hustle. It's just multiplied impact, simpler focus, sharpening your boundaries, and seeing bigger results. So being able to 10x is about impact, It's about simplifying things, and it's about results. Because, and why is this important, especially now in September? And as you mentioned, we're going into the last quarter of the year. October is knocking at the door. Why is this important? The way you approach this last few months of the year will set the tone for how you enter into 2026. Because if you drag or crawl in this last few months of the year, you're going to drag and crawl into 2026.
And so what then, okay, let's say if people have not actually prepared, then okay, so let me start this over because I'm thinking here, you've got people from all walks of life doing all type of different things. It could be, they're super involved in their business. They, maybe their jobs or maybe family things or whatever the case may be. First of all, does 10x is it inclusive of everyone, or are we just talking about leaders? Are we just talking about business execs?
10x is for everyone. 10x is actually a wonderful question, because 10x is for everyone. And fortunately or unfortunately, sometimes we use these phrases and people get confused. But I'm going to break this down for you today. I'm going to give you
Excellent.
5 moves, five simple moves. And I brought my bulb. I thought I'd taken it from the but I brought my light bulb. So 5 simple moves that will help you to 10x. But I just want to level set by saying, first of all, that when we talk about 10x, as I mentioned, it's about impact. It's not about motion. It's about momentum.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's define motion. Motion just keeps you busy. So we can be. I'll use an example. Let's say I'm in the store and I have a cart, a grocery cart, and most women and men can relate to this. I have a grocery cart and I bump into somebody. They might move a little bit, but it really doesn't have any impact. Now picture that same grocery cart loaded with tons of groceries, right? If you bump into somebody, what's going to happen? It's going to have an impact. It's going to shake them. So motion keeps you busy. And that's what a lot of us do. We're going day in, day out, and it's almost like a rinse repeat cycle. We wash, we dry, we start all over again. But momentum aligns your energy, your resources, and your purpose. And so that makes you unstoppable. That whole multiplied impact makes you unstoppable. And for those who did, I hated physics when I was in school. I just had to pass physics so I could go to medical school. Thank you. But, but for those who remember physics, remember in physics, momentum is equal to mass times velocity, right? So weight, mass, and velocity keeps you going forward. Motion just keeps you busy, and momentum keeps you going forward. And then, so after, we'll talk about the moves that you can make.
I love that. And I just want to quickly, before you get into the moves, I'm thinking back at, what you were talking about last episode with the comfort zone. And I almost feel like the way we talk about comfort zone is that people are stuck in the comfort zone and they have to get out of it. But the truth is your comfort zone it grows with you, right? Because when you're moving and shaking and you're doing things and you're growing, you are mastering whatever skills you're learning. That's what happens. So that's how a comfort zone develops, is when you've mastered that skill, you become comfortable doing it. So it grows with you. And so you're in the constant move to actually create another right, and continue that momentum. And that you just, when you said momentum, that immediately brought on that idea. I'm not sure what you think about that.
I like that idea. And as you're talking, what came to mind is like an elastic band. I usually have this rubber band that I put around my hair, but I don't have it on me. But if you have a book and you put the band around it, it's fine. It stays there. But if you stretch that elastic band or rubber band, You could put in more books and keep them together. So it's stretching, and that's where getting out of the comfort zone. You're stretching. When you get to the challenge zone, you're stretching and you're upskilling and you're learning
Yeah.
new skills. And even our brains, as I mentioned the last time, there's something called neuroplasticity. The brain, when you challenge it, begins to develop new neural pathways that help you to come up with ideas and do wonderful things. It's almost like when you play dominoes. You hit one of the little things, and it just has that effect that just goes. That's what momentum is all about, and that's what 10xing is all about. Have an impact, not just staying stuck in one place.
I love it. And before we get started on the moves, I just want to give a shout out to Paula. Thanks for watching us. Thanks for being online and interacting. And she says, I love the example with the shopping cart, and so do I. Thank you, Paula. All right, Dr.
Thank you,
Olabi,
Paula.
talk to us about the 5 moves.
Okay, let's get through this real nice and quick. It's going to be easy. I like breaking down things very easily. So, my light bulb, I remember that from the last time. So, light bulb moment. So, move number 1 is this, and this is the game changer. It's focusing. It's focusing on one thing. There's a guy called Keller Williams. If you've heard of Keller Williams Realty, he's the co-founder of Keller Williams Realty, which is the largest real estate company worldwide. But he's also an author of the bestseller, The One Thing. And he asks a question in his book. He says, what's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything will become easier or unnecessary? What's the one thing that you could do that by doing it, it makes things easier or necessary? And the central idea is this, that if you do everything, then you lose focus. But if you focus on one thing, so for example, my niche is high achieving women in healthcare. Yours is resilience. So between now and December 31st, what's one thing? How can you get clarity about one thing? What's that one thing that you can focus on and consistently that will help you get where you want to go? And I use different examples. If you remember, we talked about faith, family, finances, fun. So think about your career. It could be, okay, I need to complete, and I did that recently on my job, completing a workflow map. Once it's done, you can onboard people easily. You can train them. It makes execution easier. Or it could be a relationship. Scheduling one check-in every week will help to strengthen your relationship. So or it could be fitness. Usually we wait till the beginning of the year to talk about, oh gosh, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds. But can you commit today to walking 20 minutes a day or changing what you eat? Ask yourself, what's my one thing to finish 2025 strong? Mm-hmm. That will help you 10x in 2025. And these are small things. They don't sound like, oh my God, I thought she was going to give me some big science thing. She's this big doctor. No, it's simple. What's that one thing that you can think about that will help you finish 2025 strong? So 10x is not about 10 more things. It's about the one thing that multiplies impact. Because remember, we talked about impact and momentum.
And I love this because it's not, giving something that helps. It doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, it has to be simple enough that everyone can understand and actually start doing immediately.
Yes.
If you start giving something complicated and do this and use this layout and this map and read this many books, then it becomes a chore. And it's not
Yes.
something that you can, actually accomplish. And I love that the one thing, because it's straight to the point, it's simple, it's something you can do right now, immediately. And so
Exactly.
I invite everyone watching and those who are going to be watching us on the replay, what is your one thing? Narrow your focus and start thinking, what is that one thing that's going to move you at least 1% forward, make you at least 1% better?
I love it. Yes. So it's instead of just being busy, do something that has impact.
Yeah.
And so the next move number 2, remember we have 5 moves, is closing the knowing doing gap. Closing the knowing doing gap. And in February, we talked about how at the beginning of the year, you go to the gym and it is packed. It is packed. And by mid-February, and there's stats on this, it's empty. Everybody's gone. So most of us, we know what to do. We've been to the podcast, we've been to the TED Talks, we've heard it all. But the real gap is between knowing and doing. I don't know if you've heard this phrase, but it's a phrase that I heard a lot growing up. Knowledge is power. How many people have heard that? Knowledge is power. But knowledge, okay, so let's debunk that theory today. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power.
Yes.
Action or acting on the knowledge is the real power. Boom.
I want applause. I wish I had an applause button right now because that was
boom.
powerful.
I dropped that button. Boom. So take that.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. So applied knowledge is power.
Yes.
And so it's important. I'll give you an example of myself. I've been writing this book since the beginning of, I think, the end of last year. My coach, Dr. Cook, was like, Dr. B, you got to write a book. You got to write a book. So I started writing this book. It's not finished. I know what I need to do to write the book, but I haven't done it. And so as I was preparing for this show, I decided, okay, I need to get focus and clarity on what I want to do. And I need to come up with steps as to how I'm going to write this book. So I came up with, well, every morning when I wake up, even if it's 10 minutes, I'm going to write down something. When I'm sitting waiting or just idling, instead of just sitting there just with mindless activity, write a few chapters or a few lines on regarding my, about my book. Mm-hmm. So knowledge is potential power. Yeah. Action is the game changer. And that's the bridge between knowing and growing. That bridge is doing, and that bridge will 10x you before October 31. So write down one thing you already know you need to do and commit to do it before December 31. And I hope my friends over there in YouTube land have, or Facebook or LinkedIn, I hope you have your pens or your notepads or your phones. Just write these things down. And real quick, Nagam, you can use the formula. What do I wish for? What's the outcome that I want? What stopped me from doing what I want to do? And what's my plan? And that's a practical way to get you from where you are now to where you want to go by the end of the year.
I love it. And I'm definitely stealing this idea. The 10 minutes a day or whenever you have time to write down, because I'm struggling in the same way. Not just writing my book, I'm working on my doctorate dissertation and it's been a while. So I love that. I absolutely love that, and stealing it. And that's all I'm gonna say. Because I would love for you to. I'm now really curious. First, focus on the one thing, then close the knowing doing gap and actually get working, get doing. What's next?
The next thing is protect your yes and no. When I was growing up, there was a song we used to sing, and the Nigerians on the call will know, will remember. So I was trying to remember it earlier on. It said, wherever you go, and it would say, go, 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 go. Wherever you be, I think is what it is. Do not say yes when you mean to say no.
Oh, I love
I don't have a good singing voice, but it says, wherever you go, 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 go. Wherever you be, do not say yes when you mean to say no. And it goes on like that. So a lot of times we want to please people. And so we'll say yes when we mean to say no. We'll say no when we mean to say yes. But the thing is, every yes, the wrong yes, will cost you the right opportunity. Yeah. The wrong yes will cost you the right opportunity. So we'll say yes to something we shouldn't say yes to, and then we'll miss the right opportunity, or we'll get distracted and say yes. But every time you say no to distraction, it's a yes to your destiny. So every no to distraction is a yes to your destiny. It's a yes to where you need to go. It's a yes to, it's like the holidays are coming up and people are going to start asking us to parties, and people are going to start asking us to do things. This is the time to say to yourself, is this really necessary? Is this something that I want to do? What's the value? I always say, what's the value add? Because if it's draining me and if it's draining my energy, and it's not just things to do, people, if you're draining me and if you're draining my energy, then I need to shift my circle. I need to move away from you and lean into people and opportunities that will take me higher. So there's a lady called Liz Wiseman. She wrote a book called Multipliers, and she said some leaders drain energies, others amplify it. Who are the energy drainers, or what are the energy drainers in your life? So being able to identify that and say, no, can't do, and saying yes to those things that would amplify you and make you strong so that you can finish strong. So protect your energy, protect your yes and no. Don't say no when you mean to say yes, like the song says, and don't say yes when you mean to say no.
Yeah, and that goes back to that first one, the number one, because you can't really have one item to focus on if you are saying yes to a lot of things, or if you're saying no to potential opportunity that could help you move forward in that number one. I love it.
Yeah. Don't be a people pleaser.
Yeah, which is really hard to do, right? For some.
It is. It really is. But I'm getting better. I think I've gotten better over time. I've gotten better over time. But it's just practice.
It is, and I'll attest to the same thing. I've been working on myself as well, and I think it starts with self-awareness. Once you identify that you are in this boat, you know that this is where your time and energy have been spent. It's really important to start reflecting and start not just managing, but measuring not just your time, but your energy to see where it's going. Then you'll realize, oh, I am a people pleaser because this is what I've been spending my time and energy on. And that's how it starts with recognition, self-awareness, and then practice, like you said.
I love what you just said about measuring your time. And we don't do that. I actually talk about that when we talk about the M and the I am framework. But I really love that because when you measure, when you take stock, then you can say, it's almost like budgeting in finance. So you're budgeting your time, like, okay, this is where this is going to go, and this is what I'm going to allocate this to. No, this we can't do this now, or we're not even doing this at all. And so it's really, again, as you mentioned, self-awareness, being self-aware in order to be able to have that momentum, that impact, and to see the results that we want.
Absolutely.
Okay, number 4. So number 4 is stepping into your future self. It's 2025, September. In a few days, it'll be October. How do you see yourself? I heard people talk about visualization and because how you see yourself is how you project yourself. How do you see yourself? I closed my eyes this afternoon and I was like, okay, how do I see myself finishing 2025? How do I see myself in 2026? I see myself as finishing strong. I see myself as having written that book. I see myself walking up on a stage and somebody saying, hey, this is Dr. Olabisi Oshikalu with a bestseller. Hopefully it'll be on New York Times list. But how do you see yourself? So visualizing where you want to go. And ladies, men, step into your boots. Ladies, step into your high heels. See yourself, just step into that role. Imagine. And as you imagine yourself in the future, you don't have to wait for January 1. You can start today. You can step into your future self now. And the fastest way to step into your future self is to act like her today. Just act like her today.
Yeah.
And so what I would say to the audience, and I'm giving action items as I go along, picture yourself in 2025 and in 2026 and step into those shoes. And so what you could do is Write down one thing. If you notice, I'm giving you all this one action items. Write down one thing that your future self is already doing, and just do it. It doesn't have to be something big. Like today, I fall off the cart with everybody else in February with regards to my eating habits. And today I said, okay, I'm going to go walking. I did that. This is what I'm going to eat. I'm going to spend so much time on my book. So it's whatever it is that you want to
Yeah.
focus on those things. And as we talked about, your faith, your family, your finances, your future, your self-care, because all those things are important.
Yeah, and this one is um one of those things where people think, this is so simple. And at the same time, they may not think of the value because it sounds so simple, but it also could sound like it's out of reach almost. But here's what I've learned. This is one of the most powerful things you can actually do. That number 4 is so powerful because when when we let's say you've got a person who's shy. You got a person who's always, they identify as, I'm shy. I'm shy. Well, how did you get there? How did you become shy? You identified yourself as shy.
Yeah.
You kept yourself away, isolated from others. You avoided conversation, right? You practiced this your entire life,
Oh,
being
that's
shy.
good.
And so this is how we got there. So instead of identifying as I am shy, identify as your future self, as you've mentioned. And I don't remember if it was Dr. David Schwartz or Amy Cuddy. I don't remember which one talked about this specific one, saying that if you want to see yourself doing something or succeeding at something, visualize yourself, see yourself already done with that
Yes.
thing. Like you mentioned, I love the
Yeah.
visualization of you walking up on stage, you as bestseller. And you have to do this consistently because what your brain is going to do, it's going to believe that you're already there and it's going to start preparing you for that. And it's so amazing. And it's actually scientifically proven and real. It's not a gimmick that we just say
It's
to
not a
ourselves
opinion.
yeah, to just, I'm just making myself feel better. No, you're not. You're actually helping your brain prepare for what that actually feels like.
Exactly. And to add to that, to visualize, in addition to visualization, affirmation. The
Yeah.
last time I was here, I talked about some of these barriers to leveling up, uh, these automatic negative thoughts that we tell
Yeah.
ourselves. And so you can replace them with positive, affirming
Yes.
words and thoughts. And it could be challenging, but as you mentioned, it's just practice, 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 practice.
Yeah. I love it. What's number 5, Dr. Olabisi?
I guess so number 5 is really back to that I am framework, which we
Mm,
talked about in January. And I like to tell people the principles don't change. The way we frame some things may change, the way we do things may change, but the principles don't change. And I'm sure some of you are asking, what's the I am framework? It's
mm,
I stands for intentionality. And again, so being focused, being intentional about knowing your yes, when to say yes and when to say no. Um, don't drift into December. Have a plan. What's
mm,
your wish? What's the outcome that you want? What's the obstacle to the outcome? And what's your purpose? Define that, write that down, and start acting on it. A is action. Again, remember we said that knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. It's acting on that knowledge that's power.
mm,
So consistent, just being consistent. A lot of times we think that, oh, this person, like Michael Jordan, he was so talented. No, Michael Jordan showed up every single day, and that consistency paid off, and made him a household name that we're still talking about decades after he's retired. So just takes those small steps every day,
yeah.
and then be accountable. Studies have shown that when you tell somebody about your intention, there's a 65% chance that you will do it. But then when you add that to structured accountability, meeting once a week or on whatever schedule you set, and getting feedback and talking things through, the chance of success goes up to 95%. That is 10x, because that is momentum, that is impact. And then measuring, because what you don't track, M is measurability. What you don't track, you can't grow. And then celebrate. It doesn't have to be big wins. Celebrate the fact that I was able to walk from here to there. Celebrate the fact that I completed that project. Just celebrate the fact that I call my mom every day. You know, whatever it is, just celebrate that. So just to recap, focus on your one thing, because clarity comes first. Number two, close the knowing gap. Do not say yes when you mean to say no, because a yes to the wrong thing is a lost opportunity. So protect your yes and no. Close the knowing gap. Step into your future self. Visualize yourself in the role that you want. Affirm yourself. Speak well of yourself to yourself. And then the I am framework. Sustain whatever it is, everything we've talked about daily with consistency. And that's how you 10x it into 2020, 10x the last quarter of 2025,
Piece
and
of
just
cake.
multiply your impact in
A piece of
2020.
cake, Dr. Olabisi.
Yes.
No, you know, it's it can be, right? Because I think that last one is the key to all four. Because if without consistency, um, you know, you could do number one, two, three, and four. But then if you're not consistent, if you drop the ball, you know, you tried this for a couple days, maybe a couple weeks, and then you like, oh, it didn't work. And then you move on to something else. Of course, you're not going to be able to see the results. But one thing I want to say about something you mentioned earlier is that, you know, with the Michael Jordan example, and then, you know, many other multiple examples of people who are successful, is that people don't see the effort that
Yes.
they only see, and then, you know, people, you, me, or people, we all do that. We see the results. We see the no the win part, the victory part, but we have no idea the amount of work, the type of work, the type of energy that went into creating this result. And so we look at the person who's successful and we wish we had what they had, but if we know the work that they did, do we wish to do the same? Because we could actually be there.
Yeah. I like that. I was just smiling to myself, because the way we say is, you don't know the story. You see the glory, but you don't know the story.
Mm.
You see the glory, but you don't know the story. And I would also say this: your future isn't waiting for you to get ready, it's waiting for you to show up.
Yeah.
So just show up like I have to show up every day. I told you this in January, how I used to be so nervous about speaking, so just nervous about so many
Yeah.
different things, but just showing up consistently, not turning down opportunities to do like this podcast, or do other things where that would help to grow and stretch me. Do I get a little tinge of fear? Yes, I do. Do I get a little bit nervous? Yes, I do.
Mhm.
Am I perfect? No, I don't. And the other thing that I would like to leave the listening audience with tonight is, if you drop the ball between January and September, don't wallow in guilt.
Mhm.
Get out of the mud, get up, and just do it. Dust yourself up, because when you guilt drains you, it's like it just drains your battery. But gratitude, just saying, "Hey, Lord, thank you, thank you that for the things that I did." That
Mm.
gratitude will fuel you.
Yeah. Yeah. I you know, I want to talk about this comment from one of our viewers, but I'm gonna come back to this because I want to first talk about what you just said about guilt, because that is a big thing. And I think here's the problem with guilt. It's a cycle. It's a circle that goes around, because you know, you start something, you're happy, you're really excited about starting this new goal, but then you don't continue. There is no consistency, so you feel guilty. And then when you feel guilty, what happens? You stop. It stops you from doing all of that.
So yes.
And it's so it is just really not healthy and it's not beneficial whatsoever. And no one else sees the guilt. Nobody else sees what you're going through. You're the only person that knows what you're going through. And so if you are feeling guilty about dropping the ball, just pick it up again.
Pick it up again.
Pick it up again.
Exactly. Release the guilt.
Yes.
Release this also. It's not what success is not what you complete. Sometimes it's what you
Yeah.
release. So just let go of the guilt and say,
Yes.
okay, I'm just going to be grateful. I'm going to be grateful for the things that I've succeeded at. And
Yes.
this, focus on your strengths. That's something that I like to talk about. Focus on your
Yes.
strengths and not so much your weaknesses.
Yeah, I love this. I love this. Let's replace guilt with gratefulness.
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that. Absolutely. Let's talk about this. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Sai, shyness is a subtle form of pride. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Shyness is I actually the she hi cause shyness is a subtle form of pride. I think it is. In a way, a lot of it could relate to one's background. If you come from a
Mm,
place where you're constantly being told to be quiet and your light is being dimmed, then it could come across as shyness. But also, when you think about it, it could also be a form of pride. So it really depends on
mm,
your background. I think in every situation, one has to know the backstory. What's the backstory here?
yeah. Yeah. And as you started talking, I was thinking also, culturally speaking, pride comes in different forms. And in some cultures, you can't feel pride. In some religions, you can't be proud. You have to be, um, what's the other word? What's the other? I can't think of
Humble.
humble. Thank you.
Or be seen and not heard.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know, maybe in some cultures shyness is a subtle form of pride, or maybe you're just too humble to talk about it, or you're trying to be the invisible hero, or or something like that, to help others but not be seen, maybe. I guess
Culturally.
yeah.
I think it could be cultural because I remember when I first came to this country, I come from what I call a high power distance society where, yeah, I grew up in a home where, yes, you could be verbal, but for the most part, if you look, people, you had, especially as a woman, to be more demure and more reserved. And I tend to just, open my mouth and speak. But I remember going into residency, and a friend of mine said to me, don't come here and act like you do in Nigeria. So when the consultant or attending
Mm,
talks to you, look them straight in the eye and answer them. Whereas at home, I wouldn't do that to
mm,
my attending. I would have to just be quiet and say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. Whereas here, we had this discourse. We even called them by their first names, which, God, you couldn't do that
mhm.
at home. So I think
Yeah.
it's nuanced.
Yeah, 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 I have the same thing too, Dr. Olabisi. Where I was raised a certain way, and then you come to the United States, and you've got, like you said, eye contact. You've got to talk to people you're not used to talking, and it's just so different. The one example I always use, and here, and it's a huge cultural difference, is that I don't shake hands with men that are not related to me, of not the same family, and I constantly have to do the same thing where I put my hand on my heart and I say, "It's a pleasure meeting you," but I don't shake hands. And the biggest confusion is when they see me shake hands with another female. Like, but that's where the beauty of our differences come in, and having spending a little bit of time understanding that, about our differences. But I want to thank, tell me how to pronounce the name, Dr. Alabisi. Is it
Shay,
Shayi?
Shay.
Oh, Shayi, Shayi. Thank you for bringing this wonderful comment up, for discussion, and for being online to actually watch, because this is it's a rare opportunity where we have Dr. Olabisi on and have these wonderful questions to ask and learn from you. So back to our five. Today, it's September 24th. yes, we haven't begun the last quarter, but we're almost there. And let's say you've got some individuals who have dropped the ball. Let's just call it that. Drop the ball on some goals that they have. Feeling behind. Maybe they have started with a some sort of resolution that they were very eager to get going on in January, but something happened or they started and they couldn't finish, and now we're in September, closing up September, beginning October. Can they start from using your number 5 moves, or do they start somewhere else? What do you suggest? What do you advise?
I think, as we mentioned earlier, that this is simple, and it really just means going back to the drawing board. Just going back to, first of all, start with the end in mind. Where do I want to go?
Mhm.
Um, Going back to say to yourself, to clarify things. Where did I How did I drop the ball? What was my wish at the beginning of the year? What outcome did I want? What were the obstacles? What are some of the things that stood in the way? Were there things that I could change? Were there things that I can't find the word. Were there things that I could change, or were there things that I didn't have any control over?
Mhm.
Right? Because sometimes you don't have any control. And then
Mhm.
what's going to be my plan? And then you start back. Okay, so let me focus on this one thing. I'm not going to try to do everything, has to be realistic. And we know that when we talk about smart goals. Is this realistic? Can I do what is the one
Yeah.
thing that I want to focus on? Is it realistic? Am I going to be able to do it by the end of December, by the end of the year? Or is this something that I'm going to take into the first quarter of 2026? And then now that I know, once I know what am I going to do to act on it? So,
Yeah.
what are the things that I need to do? Is that if it's on my job, do I need to map out the process? Do I need to look at my processes from end to end to see, okay, how can I are there things that I need to streamline so we can get a better return on our investment, so we can have cost savings, whatever it is that I'm driving at? Number three, protecting your yes and no. Don't say yes, don't be a people pleaser. Maybe that's, keep distractions from stealing my 10x, my impact.
Yeah.
And then stepping into your future, see yourself. There's a saying that I don't run like someone who's beating the air, but I run with my eyes on the prize. So
Mhm.
run with your eyes on the prize. Run like someone who's going to win. Run like someone who wants to take the crown. And then, so that's stepping into your future self and running with focus, running with energy, running with impact. And then the I am, being intentional, goes back to one, being accountable, and then measuring your wins. What happened? This is where I am. This is where I am now. And then celebrate the small wins. That's why we have like little parties. Have a party. Go get a massage, do a manicure, pedicure, whatever it is that makes you happy. Do that, and just rinse and repeat, and make adjustments where you need to make adjustments.
Yeah, and I want to go back again to number 1, to the focus on the one thing. And just to let our viewers know, because we started a little bit later than 6 o'clock, we are completing our 1 hour, because that is, I mean, this conversation deserves a lot longer, but that's all we have. Um, the focus on the one thing, and then this is something I would love for you to clear up, Dr. Olabisi, is that you maybe have somebody hearing you, listening to you today, or watching it later and thinking, okay, my one thing is my business. Is this a one thing? Is this am I actually being focused on the one thing, or do I need to actually start digging deeper into that, what is that laser focus thing that I really want to accomplish, that one goal?
My one thing is my business too, but my one thing is Full Hands Ventures. But within Full Hands Ventures, what do I want to focus on between now and January, or between now and December 31st? What can I 10x? So it could be, for me, I want to be on more platforms. So before the end of the year, I can get Paula, who's been Paula O'Connor chatting with the experts. I could say, okay, Paula, I want to be on your podcast. Okay, Nagam, I want to be on your podcast. Somebody asked me to do a speaking engagement. So at least by the end of 2025,
Mhm.
I want to say I have maybe 4 or 3 podcasts
Yeah.
under my belt. If it's I'm also a businesswoman, so it could be I need to generate some cost savings. So that one thing might be looking at my budget, looking at what's coming in, what's
Mhm.
going out, what's causing the drain, and how can I readjust before the end of the year.
Mhm.
So whatever your one thing is something that you have to decide is key or it's priority. What's my priority? So you prioritize, and even though we're saying one thing, it doesn't mean that it has to be one exact thing. It's really just about being focused on what's priority and then breaking them down into small bite sizes.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And my one thing is focusing on my business, on my but saying focusing on my business has it's a huge umbrella that has a lot of
Yes.
different things in it. I want to be on different podcasts. I want to get up on a lot of different stages. Right? I want to do all of this, but what is that one thing at the end of the day? Have I added value into how many people? And then at the same thing, because I am at the same time, because I am small business, what is my return on investment? What are my sales? And so how do I get there? So the one thing, it can't be this huge broad umbrella, because we're going to kill ourselves trying to trying to figure all of these things out.
And we don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Remember last year, at the beginning of the year, when we talked about the different zones, we talked about the burnout zone.
Yeah.
And that's not a place to be. You don't want to be in the comfort zone. You want to be in the challenge zone, but you don't want to be in the burnout zone, because you said something about adding value. We want you to know, and this is from John Maxwell, and I see this all the time. I am a person of value. So if I know that I'm a person of value, I need to take care of me mentally, physically, emotionally. I value others, impact, and I add value to others, impact.
Yes. Oh, wow. I love this. I love this. I'm not just adding value to others. I am a person of value.
I'm a person of value.
I love
And
that.
when I recognize that, and that goes back to even when I recognize that, visualize that, and I recognize that, and I affirm that, and I speak that, and I do that, then I'm able to 10x. Because if you're sick
Mhm.
and unhealthy
Mhm.
and stressed mentally or just burnt out, you're not adding value to yourself, you're not adding value to your family, you're not adding value, you know,
Yeah.
to anybody.
You can't pour from an empty cup, basically.
Exactly. I love that
Yeah.
phrase. You
Yeah.
cannot fall
And
from an empty cup.
and so um before we end, I do want to ask for not lasting, but a last advice. But before we get to that, I would love to invite our people watching us now live, and those of you who are going to be watching the replay, connect with Dr. Olabisi on her website, fullhandsventures.com, and on LinkedIn. She is a wealth of potential knowledge, and that potential knowledge goes to you, people who are connecting with her and learning from her, because what you do with that potential is got you got to do with it, right? You got to do something with it. You got to act on it, right? So it's not just enough to take in the knowledge, but to actually start acting on it. But connecting with someone like Dr. Olabisi is an amazing start, because we all need mentors and coaches in our life to actually help us on those moments we feel stuck. And both of us have had mentors and coaches in our life. Even though we are ourselves mentors and coaches, we've had others who have led us in that direction and helped us find clarity on what it is, that one thing, as an example, that we want to focus on, or the next move, or so on. So connect with Dr. Olabisi on her website and on LinkedIn. And back to Dr. Olabisi, what advice would you give somebody? Let's shift to someone in small business. Both you and I are small business owners, and it's such a struggle, especially for those of us who are solopreneurs who do things on their own. They wear the multiple hats. They do the jobs of a lot of different individuals, and they sometimes find it really difficult to hit the goal that they want. What advice would you give?
Thank you for that question. That's a really powerful question. I am a pediatrician by training, and aside from Full Hands Ventures, before Full Hands Ventures, I was in private practice for over 15 years, and I started and scaled 2 pediatric clinics. And it can be tough. It can be lonely, lonely at the top. It can be lonely at the top. But I think it's important for people to realize that momentum is a gift that you give to yourself.
Yeah.
Your impact is not measured by how busy you are, but by the impact that you make. Who is better for having you having showed up? So just water the seeds of greatness. Once you know what you want to do, align with people who can help you, mentor you, people who you can be accountable to, and you don't have to walk this journey alone. We talked about that earlier. You don't have to walk this journey alone. Get people. There's strength in community, faith community, in business, and in so many of the things that we're doing. Like, get with people who you can align with and who can help you to accelerate into the things that you want to do, so you can finish strong. And don't get discouraged. There's help out. Just continue to show up consistently and water the seeds of greatness every day, and it will grow. Just water those seeds every day, and it will grow.
I love it. And who was it that said consistency compounds?
John Maxwell says that
John
all the
Maxwell.
time.
I love
Yes,
that. And I heard this.
consistency
I
compounds.
actually didn't hear it from him personally, or from or one of his books. I heard it from Dr. Koku, who we both have in common,
Yes,
and I absolutely loved it.
yes.
Consistency compounds, and no matter where you are in your journey, I think start small. I love that first one. That one thing that you want to focus on, and go from there, and just take action. Focus on the one thing, take action, so you can decrease the knowledge and the knowing and the doing gap. The boundaries one is a big one. Number 3, protect your yeses and nos. And number
Yes.
4, stepping into your future self, which is a huge potential in you already realizing your future self. And then finally, the I am intentionality. Do everything with intentionality, accountability, and measure everything you do. Maintain all of this with consistency, and you're able to 10x. Did I get all this right?
Yes, ma'am. Awesome.
Yay!
So we're
Awesome.
going to finish 2025 strong. We'll step up, we'll level up, and we'll 10x that impact into 2026. I'm
Awesome.
excited.
Awesome. I think this is a wonderful beginning to the beginning of this last quarter of the year, so that we have a stepping stone to take us to the next year, and to all future years of our future self. Thank you so much, Dr. Olabisi, for joining. You've been dropping gems all afternoon. Thank you for that.
Thank you for having me here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you to the listening audience. Connect with me on my website or on LinkedIn, and my details are on the screen. Thank you so much again. It's really been an honor and a pleasure. I've had a ball.
I did too, as always. And thank you to the audience who joined us and who commented today. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Next month, I'm talking to Nate Title of Anypath Technologies, who is going to talk about, he is a technology background, and he is going to talk small business. And if you are, if you have a small business and you're wondering, how do I get stuff done? How do I get my tech, the IT part of my business figured out? He is a potential wealth of knowledge, like Dr. Olabisi in his field. So don't forget to subscribe, like our page, and come back next month to talk to hear us talk to Nate and drop any questions. Thank you for joining us. Stay resilient and stay a leader in whatever you do. And watch us again next time on Leading the Way.
I have more degrees than a thermometer.
And when you're engaged in
Stands for their interests, or they
There's a lot of
Your
planning.
daughters will be here and you
I
will be
believe in mental health.
Sure that we have mental
When you have
We travel together on the path to intentional leadership, one conversation at a time. We go down a new road of insight with an expert guest who knows what it takes to navigate the opportunities and challenges of leadership. Why? Because they've already been there. So grab your compass and whatever else you need, and let's set out, leading the way.
All right.
Thank you
And-
so much, Nagam.
This was awesome. Thank you so much. As always, you're dropping gems every second of that podcast. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. And yeah, really a pleasure. I'm sorry about the glitch at the beginning, but I think everything went really well.
You know what? It's not your fault. The platform glitched up. Something's going on. I am going to reach out to support, and yeah, I'm sure we'll figure it out. But it went well. We like you and I both stated. This is what you do. You go with the flow, and you just move on. We had great participation, and I had some comments too, even after we left the stream. So thanks
Good.
for everything, and let's stay in touch to discuss the potential talk show for you and I, and then I'll reach out to you via WhatsApp.
Okay, yes, that would be great. I'm really interested. I was thinking about it as we're coming up. I'm really interested. I think we have great chemistry. I think we can come up with something. And I like what you said. We can even do some shows where we have opposing views, and I think it will be nice. I think it will be nice. It'll be a great combination.
Yeah, I honestly think so. And then it's important to bring multiple different views to the table, have a discussion, narrow the topics down. I think it'll be a lot of fun. You and I have already done this kind of thing twice. Yeah.
We have good chemistry. We have good
And you're so
chemistry.
natural.
That's
And you just,
beautiful.
I love that about you. So
Oh, thank you. When I was growing up, and somebody was asking me today about, I'm always so vulnerable. So when I was growing up, it's so funny. My mom used to really spank me because she would say, "Oh my God, you just tell everything." I really used to get into trouble. And she would beat me, and then I would say, "I'm sorry, I won't do that again," and then I would start off.
wow.
So I guess I was just born like that.
These are the little things we learn from, right? That make up our personality. It's amazing. No,
Yeah.
and then this is the thing. This is why I like the authentic side of things, is because of things like that, like what happened today. No script could actually get you ready for anything
Yeah.
like that.
No. That's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. So
That is
thank you
so
so
true.
much again. And I'll
Okay,
reach
thank
out.
you. Have a great evening.
Yeah. And then the person who you were recommending, if you can do me a favor, actually, let me do this. Let me give you the link. To have her, if she's interested in applying for to be a guest on the podcast, just have her go onto the link. I'm going to drop this in.
Okay, put it in my WhatsApp.
I'm going to put it in the WhatsApp so that she can fill it out. And
Okay.
then, yeah. And at the same token, here we go. I just put it in WhatsApp. At the same token, if you know others who actually host what podcasts, that's one of my goals as well, is to actually appear on different podcasts and speak about,
Paula,
leadership.
I think you should come on Paula's show. Paula. I'm seeing the thing.
Oh,
Paula Okuman.
Okay. Paula Akune.
Okon, if you go, her show is called Chatting with the Experts. Like today, we did. Somebody came on and talked about, it's host every Wednesday, domestic abuse. It was sobering. Then she's had somebody come and talk about how to take care of these wigs. Then she's talked about food sustainability. I love her show. I actually put it on my work calendar every Wednesday. I actually got upset with my boss for trying to schedule a meeting on that day.
And
But
how does she have like a specific link or
I'll connect you with. In fact, I'm going to call her right now, because she if I can talk to her, and I'll tell her to reach out to you on LinkedIn.
that would be amazing. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, she had before it was a TV show, but now she's on her own. So she does the thing on Zoom, but somehow she distributes it. Her show is, it goes to like to so many different countries and different
Oh,
places, and
wow.
yeah, I really like. I need to like get me on her show again, but yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
Okie dokie. Thank you.
You're welcome. And great talking to you again. And let's do
Same
this
here.
again sometime.
All righty. Bye.
Bye. Take care.